Welcome to Geek Zone Wrestling, a podcast by two lifelong wrestling fans who just want to talk about wrestling. We are coming on the heels of Elimination Chamber.
And oh, do we have a ton to unpack from it.
Yes. And uh, at the time of recording, it has been less than 24 hours. We have yet to determine any kind of fallout from any of that pay-per-view. But the pay-per-view started with the women's elimination chamber, so we will obviously start there. Um, you know, the women were coming out, they all got in the ring and they were about to close the chamber.
Which, the starting two in the ring were Liv Morgan and Naomi. So they're about to start the match, the bell rings, and all of a sudden, the lights cut partially and music starts playing.
It is Jade Cargill.
And she's pissed.
She's back with a vengeance.
So she comes down the aisle and, Liv is pleading. And you can tell she's, basically saying, I had nothing to do with this.
No, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me.
That too. So Jade gets into the Elimination Chamber before they close it, makes a move toward Liv, and then immediately proceeds to beat the living crap out of Naomi.
In fact, I'm pretty sure she beat the glow out of her. No mo glow.
So this was the least expected start to an Elimination Chamber for me. I was hoping that Jade would show up at some point to advance that storyline of who attacked her.
Actually, you said during Naomi's entrance that you wanted Jade to come out and attack her and take her place.
Yeah, that is what I said at the time of the match, but
you were half right.
I kind of was. But originally I was thinking, at some point during the Elimination Chamber, she's going to show up during the match while the whole thing's going on, and she'll interfere somehow. And truth be known, I thought it was going to be Bianca that attacked her. I thought she was going to go after Bianca. And I thought we were going to get a heel Bianca from this point forward, which I'll be honest, I am completely welcoming, because I'm just not buying her as much as a face.
I thought she was a pretty good face when she was a solo act, but ever since they put her in teams, it's just she hasn't had the same feel.
Well, like when they put her with Jade initially, the two of them did not mesh for me. Like, you have one, bubbly personality and one fuck you personality, and it didn't mesh well. So then Jade gets attacked backstage, and you see her, laying on a car with a broken windshield. And
wait, her or the car?
The car with the broken windshield. She was just broken.
Okay.
And then Naomi steps in, and that for me is a question mark to begin with, because Jade is the tag team champion, not Naomi. But somehow or another, they just disregarded that fact, and okay, Naomi's going to be her tag team champion partner now.
No, they had was it Aldis or Pierce? One of them said that Bianca would have to vacate the titles, and she's and she didn't want to. She said, "But I got Naomi now," and they had to basically, wrestle to be the champions. So basically, what they said is, if you guys win this match, then you will be the new tag team champions. So it was more or less vacated without Bianca losing hers.
essentially, yeah. But either way, Naomi steps in, and the two of them have similar personas, but Bianca just
They
she
also have a similar look.
yeah, and but Bianca has been kind of lackluster as opposed to her, former character where she was this dominant force as a woman's champion.
Okay, well we'll get to the dominant force in a bit.
But during the Elimination Chamber, Bianca was beside herself. Like she went full blown basket case as Cargill is just beating down Naomi.
And you can hear her yell like, "Let me out! What's going on? Like stop! Yada yada yada." And Naomi's like about to crawl out of the chamber, and you think, okay, well, she's going to go out and Jade's going to take her place. Nope. Jade just slams the freaking chamber door on her and storms backstage.
Yeah, walks out.
And then everyone's like, oh, well, Naomi can't compete. And it's like, well, no shit.
So
Liv's laughing her ass off.
And originally we're thinking, oh, well, somebody has to replace her. And they just said, no, she can't fight, so she's eliminated. So automatically we're out one wrestler for that match.
Although we did get to see some action.
Well, that's true.
I mean, we got to see one of the most brutal beatdowns I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, just like basically from one person just beating another one down.
I can't disagree with that. That was absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
And originally, both of us were thinking probably Bayley wins. And, I was on the fence of Bayley or Liv because Rhea and Liv have a huge storyline already in place.
Well, but they seemingly put that one to bed.
They did.
That's why I thought it would be like dumb for them to just sort of redo it, especially since they just started packaging Liv and Raquel as like this dominant tag team.
Well, my thinking was Mania is literally a few weeks away now. So they have very little time to build up a decent story for another person. They have what, 3 weeks ish?
No. It's Easter.
Oh, is it? Okay, so they got what?
Easter weekend is WrestleMania, so I'd say probably like 6 or 7.
Okay, so they have that's still a very
like the
short
second
amount of
week
time.
of April.
That's still a very short amount of time to build up a meaningful storyline that essentially would usually end at WrestleMania, and then they would start the new storylines thereafter.
But
typically,
I do have a thought of how it could still work where, one, you get your heel Bianca, or as I very much enjoyed Wade Barrett say, Bianca! Remind me of William Regal and his Umanga. But if it turns out that, Naomi was in fact the one who attacked Jade, and she did it to usurp her position as Bianca's partner, then Bianca could then feel betrayed and used by Naomi, thus making her feel resentful because, then the person that she was teaming with this whole time, the person that she thought was in her corner on her side, stabbed her in the back this whole time and she never knew it, was using her. And then Bianca becomes the heel to Rhea's face in that match at WrestleMania. And then she, she then like tells Jade, like I am so sorry. We're going to make this right. We're just going to go and destroy everybody.
So that would make Jade and Bianca heels?
Based off of last night, I'm pretty sure Jade's a heel.
I don't know. I think.
Have you ever seen a face
do that? Yes, when it was warranted. Like when someone comes back from an injury and they go after the person that injures them, typically that is the face that
She's
is
not Randy
attacking them.
Orton.
So, I mean, is
Randy Orton, whether he's a face or heel, one of the beauties of his character, he's in the same vein of vein in his veins. I like that. It wasn't even intentional. But he's in the same vein as like Stone Cold Steve Austin and Seth Rollins, where it doesn't matter if he's a face or a heel.
yeah, but we can talk about him later.
He can.
I'm talking
Spoilers,
about
dude.
I'm talking about Jade Cargill.
No, but what I'm saying is like those guys, they can do that shit whether they're a face or heel, and people won't bat an eye.
I don't think people bat an eye at Jade. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think the general consensus is going to be that she was totally justified in attacking Naomi like that. Because from what it seems, Naomi left her laying on a car with a broken windshield.
But I find that hard to believe. Look at the two of them.
Well, I agree, but if you get the drop on someone, you attack them from behind, it's hard to defend if you don't know it's coming at you.
Mm. So what you're saying is Naomi really wishes that Jade was in her rear view?
Yes, very much so. So at any rate, getting back to the Elimination Chamber, we're thinking probably Bayley. And she ends up being the first person eliminated.
That is not true.
Well, Naomi was...
She's the first person, legitimately...
eliminated.
Eliminated the way you're supposed to be. By pinfall or submission.
Yes, not by beat down and...
escorted out on a stretcher.
Yeah. So anyways, that kind of put a kink in our chain, but...
And I have a pretty kinky chain.
What was your... who was your highlight person?
Roxanne Perez. Holy crap, did she just show up. Like, I mean, I've always been impressed with Roxanne. For one, she's super small. So, like, when you're super small like that, like Rey Mysterio-esque for the women, you feel like you... I don't want to say automatically, like, underestimate them. But, like, Rey Mysterio was the ultimate underdog.
Yes.
And you love to see how he compared with the larger athletes. In this case, I loved how Roxanne was, like, not necessarily new because, she'd been doing NXT and all that, but she's new to the main roster, new to Elimination Chamber. Everyone else in that match had done this before.
Several times.
Yeah. So for her to go in and impress like that, the way that she did, the moves that she pulled, it was... You would think that she'd been doing this multiple times.
Yeah, she was outstanding.
Keeping up with Bianca, Bayley, Alexa, and Liv is impressive since all four of them had been in at least 3 chambers before.
Yeah, all of them. And Liv had been in, what, 6?
Holy shit.
So, yeah, she was outstanding. She really did. As far as I'm concerned, she made a name for herself last night.
Yeah. Prodigy, an apt nickname.
Yes, very much so.
But, I mentioned the stature because, like, I wanted to make a reference to the ultimate underdog, obviously, and she is a shorter person.
Yeah, the top of her head barely made it to the top rope.
Yeah, but I wanted to use that more or less as a comparison to her naivete in the setting.
Certainly.
It would be the same as if...
It's like a David and Goliath story.
Yeah. Well, like John Cena, when he...
John Cena.
When he came out on SmackDown against Kurt Angle and, did the whole...
ruthless aggression.
And then, bitch slapped Kurt Angle in the face. It's sort of like that. Somebody who endless potential, and who, at least in Cena's case, started out horrible. Like,
Agreed.
he was not a good character at first, and then luckily they found it. But you start off in this immensely overshadowed position because you are facing off against someone that people already know, someone who's already established, or in her case, 5 of them. Well, 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Very established.
Um, but I mean, again, and I'm talking strictly Elimination Chamber match in this case, not necessarily career wise.
Well, career-wise, all of the other ladies were established,
Yeah,
very
but I
well
mean, like,
established.
Roxanne Perez is already over with the crowd. It doesn't really fit the John Cena comparison because he literally, that was the first time he appeared as
Yeah.
anything other than prototype. Um,
Yeah,
but
I agree with that.
she showed up. She meshed so well.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up being eliminated right after Bailey, in rankings, not in time frame.
Yeah.
But then you've got
Liv, Alexa,
and
Bianca.
And Liv went to escape to the top of the pod. Bianca followed her. Liv went to go away. Bianca caught her and whacked the ever-loving hell out of her midsection with that braid.
And I mean, they must have played it, what, 6 times
You would have
over
thought
and
it
over?
was Taka Michinoku getting thrown over the top rope at the Royal Rumble 2000.
It sounded like a huge bullwhip going off.
Yeah.
I mean, it was loud.
Like, I literally was starting to think it was just like back in the Royal Rumble 2000. They kept showing Michinoku go, wee! I mean, they loved watching that dude get hurt.
Now, but before we get to the other eliminations, I do have to give props to Alexa Bliss. Bliss coming back after her time off and showing the way she did in the chamber last night.
I was working up to anyway, so it works out.
It was really, really good, and I'm going to be honest. It wasn't even just her.
No, her character work was just.
It was
on
amazing.
Point is, like when Jade was just annihilating Naomi, and you got Belair. I think she was literally in the one straight ahead of Bliss.
Yeah,
and Bliss is just like a wall wide-eyed, like, whoa.
Yeah, you could see, like, she was puzzled, like, what is going on here?
What did I miss when I was gone?
and then after she did some of her, I forget what move it was. She did a move, and then she rolled right into a sitting position, and she just started looking around, and it was very, very Fiend-esque.
It was like she had the like personality that Alexa had when she worked with the Fiend, which when she came back she wanted to do that because Wyndham,
right,
pay homage to him. But she also like included like Aleister Black's little like sitting thing, which makes me hopeful that maybe that's a future,
a foreshadowing.
Well, just that, like, could you imagine him working with the Wyatt Six? Like, come on. Or at least being like not necessarily in the faction. I mean, but like having a feud with them or something, or even Karrion Kross. Like they've all got the same similar like darky theme, and I think those would work really well. But anyway, the one complaint I have was she and Roxanne just kept like rolling from the corner, and then they would exchange moves like the freaking Royal Rumble with the kip up. Like, why?
Why is everybody doing this move over and over and over? Yeah,
like the first time when Alexa did it, I'm like, okay, cool, she's mocking her. That that's fun. And then Roxanne did it again, and I'm like, okay. And then Alexa did it again. It's like,
is this the thing now?
No. And then it was another roll. It's like, you can get off your roll now. Thank you.
So yeah, then as the match wore on, Liv ended up eliminating Alexa Bliss.
Very cleverly, actually.
Yes, very
Uh,
cleverly.
she rolled her up and then used Bianca's braid to wrap around her legs and keep her in a roll up pin,
Yep.
which Alexa was not a fan of. Can't really blame her. Who's a fan of losing?
Yeah. But I could see this kind of leading up to maybe a Wyatt 6 versus Judgment Day,
Maybe.
possibly.
But we also lead into my second real complaint about the Women's Elimination Chamber match, which is after Alexa got eliminated, all of a sudden, Bianca became Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
She started no selling
Everything. Like, it didn't matter what Liv did, it got no sold.
But she did, like, multiple code breakers, and like Bianca would come up from it and end up in the ropes. She would go for Oblivion and Bianca would just catch her. And then she would go for a Kiss of Death, and then Liv would get out of that, hit her with like a code breaker or something, and she'd go into the ropes. It's like they did that 2 or 3 times before she finally hit the KOD and got the PIN.
And the WIN.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the winner of the chamber was Bianca.
Bianca! But and the reason that the no selling thing bothered me so much is because she had sold everything
up to that point.
And then all of a sudden, she even hits her with one of her signature moves, and she's just like, I'm able to just bounce right back.
Yeah.
And it completely diminishes any value from that move.
Correct.
And it's sort of like, people always say that, everyone does the super kick now. So like Sweet Chin Music is no longer a credible finisher. But the difference is, people nowadays, they're just kicking in the face. With the Sweet Chin Music, he drums up the band, and then he does it in a smoother way.
So actually,
it's still like signature,
where it's still valid.
Yeah.
And actually, I have an explanation of this. I happened to watch an interview with DDP, or not DDP, Jake the Snake Roberts, and
so
the topic
JTSR.
Yeah. So the topic was, now everybody does a DDT, but you were first. How did it come about? And he explained the story. It was a complete accident.
Yeah.
He had him in a reverse headlock and stepped on something that he
fell
backwards, and there was the DDT.
I saw part of that interview.
Yeah. Well, his explanation was he loves it because everybody's doing a DDT. But he mastered it.
He was the only person to be able to finish people with it.
Right, because it shows that he mastered it. So with the Sweet Chin Music versus the super kicks of today, all these other guys are just throwing super kicks, but Sean mastered the technique to the point that it could be his finisher.
But I mean, that's the kind of the point that I'm trying to make is, like, for example, Chris Jericho would do the code breaker, right? It was a finisher.
Yes.
Well, now, Liv has it. And, it doesn't really always finish a match. In fact, it rarely does. And then she even used a backstabber. And it's like, when people just bounce back from these, like, how is anyone going to take a backstabber seriously now?
Yeah, right. I agree. I think the no selling thing is a terrible, terrible thing to do in a match.
I can only agree to it in certain conditions, and that would be like, for example,
hulking up.
That, but he wouldn't hulk up in every match because then it's no longer special.
Right.
But like, for example, this I have in my head specifically because of who it is. For example, Shawn Michaels hits a Sweet Chin Music on Undertaker.
And he sits up.
Because his character is very different.
Yes.
And given their thing at WrestleMania, that's still special.
Yes, very much so.
Just, Shawn Michaels giving a sweet chin music to Colin Delaney on an episode of SmackDown, and Colin Delaney's just like, "Oh, I can still go." It's like, "Oh, the fuck is that?"
Yeah, yeah. It totally kills the belief in that move for that person or anyone else for that matter.
So that's the thing that really kills me about overselling, especially how they've just had Jacob Fatu just not sell anything ever. It's
Yeah,
bugged
getting
the crap
dropped on
out
a
of me.
freaking chair and he just pops right up.
Yeah, he no sold the RKO.
Yeah.
Something that's supposed to just take out anybody and everybody. Like Brock Lesnar sold the RKO. Roman Reigns sold the RKO.
Everybody has sold the RKO except Jacob Fatu.
And
I got problems with that too.
I'm getting sidetracked. I apologize.
At any rate, moving on, the next match was.
I mean, just Bianca has, honestly, two varying storylines that could happen.
Yes, yeah,
So
she does.
we'll see if maybe they, the whole Jade Naomi will coincide with her going to WrestleMania and having the title, or if she will just part ways. The two of them will have a feud, and she'll just be like, oh shit, I'm not getting in the middle of this.
Which she is now slated to fight either Rhea or Io Sky, depending on who wins tomorrow night on Raw.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I just wanted to say, we have somewhere with that we,
Yeah, there's a fork in the road
that may or may not turn into a spoon.
Yes. So then the next match was the Trishy Time match. Trishy Time versus Nia Jax and Chelsea. Was it Chelsea Green?
Candice
LeRae. Candice LeRae.
Chelsea Green was on SmackDown.
Yeah, that's right. So this was a match that I'll be honest, I could not have cared less about. And I remember telling you as it started, I was like, I could miss this entire match and not feel like I missed a thing.
I would have missed boobs, but no, I mean, yeah, but I wasn't really. I am unbelievably impressed with Tiffany Stratton.
As am I.
Not just the unbelievable athletic ability. She's like the Logan Paul of the women, just ridiculously athletic. But her like little whiny, prissy, it's Tiffy time. Like that shit's annoying. But somehow she makes it annoying, but in a good way.
She makes it enjoyably annoying.
Yeah, and just like the fact that she could somehow be a face that's annoying, and you're like, I'm cool with being annoyed. That's impressive.
Yes, it is.
And that's like, in my opinion, in the same vein as King Booker, where he's so annoying and, such a heel that you hate him so much that you enjoy seeing him so you can hate him. It just shows how good they are.
Yes.
And I am just unbelievably impressed with how she is just naturally just stuck to this. And then I am also very fond of Candice LeRae. I wish she would have a little more opportunity to, find herself in WWE.
And well, let me clarify my stance. I didn't care about the match, not because I don't like Trish or I don't like Tiffy or I don't like Candice.
Oh no, I was just giving my side, and then I was going to let you do that afterwards.
Okay. I'll wait my turn.
Like I feel like Candice, if given the opportunity, could break out of her shell that she currently is in and become a really good superstar. The problem is, I grew up watching Trish. So the nostalgia, you're in Toronto, and that's awesome and all. But I'm just not a fan of these legends, Hall of Famers, coming back and doing like, well, I want to have one more run. Because then it's the nostalgia starts fading away and you're
Yeah, it's
like,
like,
this is not what I remember seeing you do. Because they can't physically do what they used to anymore because it's been so long. And,
and
and
it
it's not that she's not capable.
and it negates the whole point of, hey, I've retired.
Well, I mean, I get the point of, all of these new young people, being able to do things that they never got the opportunity to do. And I am all for them coming back and doing the rumbles and doing these matches, working with these people. But it's just like, I don't want it to end up to the point where it's like the Undertaker, and it was like after WrestleMania 33, it's just his matches were very disappointing, and it started to make me feel like the Undertaker just wasn't anymore. Then he went back to being the retired badass that just shows up and chokeslams people, and I love him again. I mean, I never stopped loving him, but
Yeah.
his appearances were great again. And then Nia Jax, who, I'm sorry, she's just not good in ring. She's not good on the mic. She's not good at acting like a bitch. She's just not good. And from everything I've heard, she is a sweet person outside. Just, she can't fake it. End of story. Your turn.
Okay.
Okay, so what I meant was,
On on that note, yes, the reason I did not care about this match, well, two reasons really. One was, in fact, Nia Jax, because I believe Candice could have run and made a good match with Tiffy and Trish, but she needed a different partner. She needed somebody else that could also give that high powered, high excitement type of match. Instead, she got Nia. And Nia, like you said, not good in ring, not good on mic, not good at faking her character because I had this discussion with another friend of mine this week. Anytime she does
you
take
have
the
other
mic,
friends?
yes, anytime she does take the mic, it is a blatant reminder to the fact that, hey, this is fake. And I want to get enthralled, I want to get enveloped in the overall experience of the show as though it was real, even knowing that it's scripted. I don't want it to be so fake that it's embarrassing to watch fake.
Yeah. Well, it's like watching a movie or a television show. You know that it's fake, but the whole point is, them selling it so that you can imagine it's real.
Yeah, so you can get immersed in it.
And then that's where the enjoyment comes from. It's not the, oh wow, like, I think that he's really like a human zombie biker dude. Like, for one, that would be both scary and cool. And two, it gives you a chance to pretend and, just get in your head and imagine things and let your freaking creativity run wild.
Yeah. And the other reason I didn't care about the match was because it was clearly just an excuse to get Trish out there in Toronto.
Well, I mean, that's
I mean,
fine. They've done that before.
it's fine, but that's the problem. They've done that before, and you now kind of expect that, okay, they're going to bring Trish out for a pointless match. There's no storyline here whatsoever. This is pretty much a one-off, and then she's going to disappear into obscurity for a while, and then she's going to come back for another match in Toronto, and I get it. She is the hometown queen there, and
Although, to be fair, this was actually really well done because you have Tiffany Stratton, who's feuding with Nia Jax, who has Candice LeRae. So it's a 1-on-2. So she actually fit in perfectly with this match.
But you knew the match wasn't going to amount to anything. There was
There
very
was a
little.
very big flaw in that match.
There was a very, uh, but it was pointless.
Yeah.
The match itself was pointless, and that was my only point of the night where I was like, I don't care.
I feel like it would have been better if it was a title match. Tiffany versus Nia, the rematch. Only you had Trish Stratus in Tiffany's corner to neutralize Candice. And then, have Nia, hit Trish or something, and Trish gives her the chick kick. And
see, I think what would have been better, since Trish is wanting another run or whatever, the tag titles should have been dropped to Nia and Candice. That would have given a point to this match. Tag titles on the line.
Lita had them.
So I feel like that was the only down point of the night for me. After that, again, it was all uphill. And
the next match was a doozy.
Go ahead.
The unsanctioned match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, which, by the way, I fully sanctioned.
I feel like it totally stole the show.
Oh man, that match, you could feel just the juices flowing.
The match was just unhinged.
Anytime you have the two of them, I've seen their matches from the independent circuit, their matches NXT main roster. The guys have the perfect chemistry because they are best friends. But it was like shades of, like Mick Foley. Because at one point, Sammy pulls out a freaking barbed wire chair.
Yeah. Who thought of that?
I don't know, but they're genius.
And at one point, they had a stacked 2 tables on each other.
Yeah.
Which inevitably Sami Zayn ended up going through.
Yeah. And they broke the rule of whoever sets up the table goes through it, because
both
Sammy
of them
only
set it up.
Yeah, Sammy only stacked up one of those 2. So the fights word, Kyle, come on. Crowd goes to them.
The aisle.
Yeah. Spills. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. I don't know why I said thank you. I thought of it.
I don't know why either.
But it spills out into the crowd, and they're fighting up steps and, through the passageways.
One of the greatest lines that came out of it.
Hold on.
From Pat McAfee.
I'm getting there. Weapons got involved. One of the straps or something from a guard was used to choke Sammy, and then Sammy grabbed a trash can, which Pat McAfee affectionately said, "He just hit him with Dominic Mysterio."
I love that.
Oh God, stole the show.
One of the best lines of the night. One of 2.
So in other words, he really did him dirty. And they're going at it all through the arena. It was just so gripping, because they made you think that they legitimately wanted to kill each other.
Yeah, very much so.
And that they don't, but it's just damn.
The lengths they went to make you believe it.
And then at one point, when he had the barbed wire chair, after he hit Kevin with it a couple times in the back, he set it up with 2 other chairs to make, a makeshift table, and then he
Blue Thunder bombed him through it.
Not really. It did not give.
It didn't budge. It stayed on the other 2 chairs.
was like, oh,
Yeah, that
dang.
and I remember saying at that point that looked legitimately very painful. That looked like that may have been botched. That may have gone wrong.
Well, that's not a botch on them because they can't control the equipment not giving. They did their spot exactly how it was supposed to be. Another thing, like I brought up to you during the match, was at one point he had the chair sitting up, you know, barbed wire all wrapped around it, and like KO goes face first onto it, and he's yelling like my eye. It's like how in the middle of that, with everything that you're doing, if he is like rolling on the mat going my eye, how do you not wonder whether or not like he's selling or if he legitimate if something's legit wrong.
Typically, that's the ref's job. He checks to make sure nothing is actually legitimately wrong, and he reports back to the other wrestler saying, "Okay, we're at this point. Here's what needs to happen. You have this much time left."
Because like if that was you and me and you were doing that now, unless like we had discussed the spot, beforehand, and you're like, I'm gonna go down on this chair, and then I'm gonna be like, my eye, and then I'd be like, okay, cool. But like if you were just yelling, "Oh my eye!" after doing that, I'd be like, "Oh shit! Did he just hit his eye on barbed wire? That sucks."
Yeah.
He should have seen that coming.
Oh my god.
um, but it was just all the 3 tables, um, like 4 or 5 chairs, one of them with barbed wire.
One of them that Kevin Owens brain busted Sammy on, and then Sammy did a back suplex to him that smashed that chair completely.
Yeah. Um, a superplex through the third table. He threw Sammy off the top rope through the first 2 that we talked about.
That were stacked.
Sammy got out a hockey stick and whacked Kevin a good few times with it.
And then Kevin shoved it in his mouth.
Oh yeah,
like
and then
a bit.
Bit his head.
And then bit his head while he was doing it.
Like a crazed animal. I'm like, damn, is he selling this shit? Good God.
And then Sammy stacked 2 chairs on Kevin and hit
that
with the hockey stick.
And to cap it all off, they had this great sequence where Kevin was going to go for the pop-up powerbomb, and Sammy jumped over him, like freaking leapfrogged him, turned around, did a half and half suplex. KO got up, and he did another half and half suplex. And
that was the one that went through the chair.
Yeah. And he just, for one, just the timing of them both planning that out so perfectly and being in the right position for the pop-up power bomb into the first half and half was stellar.
It was.
And KO's selling of both of them was spot on. Perfect.
Agreed.
And then the time where, well, I mean, obviously, if you didn't see it, you're not going to know, but KO has Sammy in the corner, and he goes to run into the other corner.
So he's going to do a haluva kick.
No, he's running to the other corner, and he's either going to do that or the cannon bomb.
Yeah, one of the 2.
But as soon as he hits and is turning around, he gets haluva kicked.
Yep.
And it was like, the camera was on KO, so you didn't see Sami Zayn get up. You just see KO turn around and then get his face kicked in.
Yep.
It was like, what? That's awesome. And, I agreed with Canada, which, by the way, I forgot to mention, the national anthem got booed by the Canadians.
And then the Canadian national anthem got cheered immensely.
I don't know why that would be. But anyway, I say that because it's going to
come into play later.
But anyway, so they're chanting, like, this is awesome and holy shit and all that. But then, unfortunately, KO decides to relive the betrayal of NXT and start apron powerbombing Sami Zayn. And then...
which he did twice.
Well, he tried to do it 3 times.
Yeah, he tried to do it 3 times.
One time failed. And then, he ended up hitting Sammy 1, 2, 3, winning the match, and then deciding that that wasn't enough. So he starts heading back because everybody wanted him,
To leave.
and he decides, nope, fuck this. I'm going to go back. Rips up the mats,
From the concrete.
and, he makes it very clear that his plan is to apron or package pile drive
Sammy into the
onto the
concrete.
concrete. When all of a sudden everybody knew that voices were heard inside of a head.
And Randy Orton
My
returned.
boy is back.
Now, I don't know about you, but I was questioning what he was going to do as he was coming down the ramp. Like, I was halfway thinking he was going to turn around and RKO Sammy.
Honestly, I kind of thought he was going to just hit everybody. I thought he was going to go on an RKO spree.
A rampage.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of just what Randy Orton do. But he went in and he started attacking KO, and then one of the greatest moments I could have ever asked for.
He picks up the chair like he's going to hit KO in the back.
Almost as if he was going to do a concerto without the second chair.
Yeah, and he looked at the chair, and he thought about it, and he thought about it, and he thought about it. And then he threw the chair out of the ring.
And he backed into the corner for a punt. Which unfortunately did not happen because 6 dudes jumped him.
Yeah, 6 dudes jumped in the ring and held him back from doing it. And KO rolled out and left.
And then, the 6 guys get off Orton. And then he RKOs one of them. And then he RKOs another one of them. Then he RKOs another one of them. And then he extends his hand to shake hands with the 4th guy. And then he RKOs him.
That one I loved. Because, the dude started running at him.
That is exactly why
Dude starts running at him and he goes, wait. Shake hands. RKO.
We're cool. Oh, cool, we're cool. It's like, boom.
It was so hilarious.
And that type of stuff is exactly why Randy Orton is my favorite. Because he's unpredictable and you can get character-breaking moments without breaking character.
Yes. That was a fantastic match from start to finish.
And then after the match was over, the drama continued.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they said Sami Zayn is out indefinitely, and I don't know if that's storyline or not.
I'm hoping it's storyline. I could see him actually having been injured.
Yeah. I could see both of them suffering injuries in that match.
Yeah, big time.
But they were already playing on the fact that he was hurt, which is the whole point of the unsanctioned match.
Right.
But I don't know if they're saying he's out indefinitely, just to buy time into the story, or if he did actually get hurt. Who knows?
I'm hoping the former rather than the latter.
Yeah. But that does remind me. There was a key part of that match I was hoping for that never happened.
It was very, very disappointing. I was firmly expecting the same thing.
There was a competitor from the Royal Rumble in KO's match with
Cody. That did not appear, that we were fully expecting to appear.
I wanted Little Ladder to come make a save, but
Little Ladder did not show.
No.
Let us have a moment of silence for Little Ladder. Okay, that's enough.
Yeah. It was just a little moment. And after that match, we move into the main event-ish. I mean, we still have the Rock Cody conversation, but that's not a match, so it can't be considered a main event.
The men's Elimination Chamber.
So, funny enough, we were talking, and we both said, I told him McIntyre's coming out first, and he said that Logan Paul was coming out first. meaning different things. I meant Drew McIntyre is going to be one of the first competitors. He meant the first entrance. We were both right.
Yes, we were both right. Logan Paul was the first one to come out
and
of the
make
ramp.
his entrance. And then I told him, I was like, it's going to be McIntyre, and he's going to be facing either Rollins or Priest. I don't know which one, but at the very least, Paul, Cena, and Punk are all going to start in the pods.
Which was correct.
Yes.
And along with Priest.
Yes. It ended up being Rollins versus
McIntyre.
And I gotta say, like, the men's Elimination Chamber had a lot of drama in and of itself.
It did.
There was a lot of bad blood and personal feuds involved in there. And, oh, man.
A lot spilt over into that match.
I love how in the Royal Rumble, Priest eliminated McIntyre. Only for in the Chamber, Priest to eliminate McIntyre.
First.
Very first. Because McIntyre was all like, you know, I'm gonna bury Cena. Wasn't my best impression, but anyway, he was focused on Cena. Priest comes from behind, rolls him up, pins him like he's an altar boy, and boom, McIntyre is gone.
And shocked.
Oh, the look on his face. He has great looks on his faces.
And then he claymored Priest.
Oh, he effed up Priest pretty good. And then Logan Paul did a frog splash off of the top of the pod. Such a Logan Paul move.
He's going to get a call in the morning.
Yeah. You know, pulling a freaking Rob Van dumbass because, you know, he doesn't get a damn. RVD was the shit. Logan Paul
is just shit.
Yeah. As a person, yes. As a competitor, no.
No, as a competitor, he is way, way more talented than he should be.
And then you have two guys eliminated in very quick fashion.
Yes.
Then you have Rollins, Paul, Punk, Cena. And you end up having a nice little moment between Punk and Cena where, you know, they're standing, just the two of them in the ring. Cena extends his hand saying, like, you know, hey, you know, one last time, you know, let's shake on it. And Punk's like, you know, nah, screw this. They
gives him a hug.
Big hug. And then they're like, you know what?
All right, now let's do this.
You know, all's fair in love and war. So they start duking it out. And then Rollins gets pissed. He yells at Cena, saying, you know, hey,
he's mine.
Yeah, you've been gone a long time. He's mine. You know,
stay out of it.
Basically, yeah.
No, that's exactly what he said. Is you stay out of it. He is mine.
And Logan Paul ends up getting eliminated next.
Yay! Yes.
He ends up going to sleep.
Yeah, that spot where he goes from outside the ropes and he does that little flip thing to go in for the clothesline.
Yeah. And then Punk turned it around. That was actually really well done.
That was fantastic.
I wish I could describe it exactly how it was. It was a little twirly. It basically looked like he was going for like a spinning neck breaker ish. Just it wasn't exactly that. But he went to sleep, got eliminated, and then Rollins started fighting both Cena and Punk. And then he ended up getting
a go to sleep
double team
directly into an AA.
Yeah, and then Punk pinned him. He rolled out of the ring. Cena went to do another handshake. Punk's like, we already did this shit, and just like started attacking him. And then Cena got Punk like wrapped up in the ropes. He went to do an STF. Punk kicked him off. You know, Punk went to get himself together and got stomped on the outside.
By Rollins.
Well, who else would have stomped him?
Well, I mean, you had said that he got out of the ring. Well,
he
he
hadn't
wasn't
left
out of the
yet.
chamber.
So then
yeah.
Punk gets pulled into the ring by Cena, put in an STF, and in the shades of Stone Cold Steve Austin, doesn't tap out, but passes out.
Yep. And you got Seth Rollins looking on, and it was picture perfect.
Yeah. So you've got in the men's chamber, you've got a rivalry between Punk and Rollins that is seemingly
on fire,
just like the most long-term storytelling ever, because they're claiming that this started all the way back when Rollins debuted and Punk left.
Yeah.
And then you have Priest and McIntyre, and then they have the little rivalry going.
And then you have Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre.
Yep. And then you also have Logan Paul and CM Punk, because Punk basically said, hey, I'm going to beat you. And Paul's like, yeah, I'd like to see you try. And then Punk did, and did. But then Cena wins the Elimination Chamber, is going on to WrestleMania to face Cody Rhodes for his 17th World Championship. The chamber raises up.
The fireworks go off.
Yeah, Cena, points to WrestleMania sign, yada, yada, yada. Lights
go
out.
Cody.
There's more than one wrestling family. Bum, 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 whoa. And then they're standing in the ring. Cena's like, hey, you, me, WrestleMania for that, yada, blah, 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 blah.
They shake hands.
Then, if you smell, and then, oh, hey, the final boss is coming out. Nope, wait, that's Travis Scott. What the hell? Then the final boss comes out with Travis Scott just walking with him. They never explain that at all.
Not once. There was
they go to the ring.
No reason
for
him to be
like,
there.
All right, Cody, I want it all. I want your body. I want your soul. Being really creepy about it. Cody's like, I already sold my soul to these
You're
people.
going to embrace me as your brother, and I am going to embrace you as my champion.
Yeah, it was some creepy.
It was creepy.
And it was it was weird. But then Cody's like, I already sold my soul to this business,
ring,
to those
people a long time ago.
And he told The Rock to go fuck himself, and it was not bleeped out.
No, it wasn't even censored. I mean, it was
awesome.
Oh my God. That was one of the biggest reactions. Like, I've been watching reaction videos from that moment.
Same.
And that reaction right there when he said that is one of the biggest eye poppers for everybody I've watched.
And it was Cena's behind him, and he's jumping, and he's loving it. And then he and Cody hug. He's so happy for him. Cena looks at The Rock. The Rock does a cut of throat.
But before he did that, if you noticed when he looked at The Rock, his face changed immediately.
He was glaring. And
then The Rock did the throat
cutting. I still think it should have been Batista, though. Because then when The Rock did the throat cutting, Batista could have gone, metaphor. But anyway, and Cena, he comes back. He's shaking hands with Cody. He's got a smile back on his face again, and then he kicks him in the nuts.
Why is he always kicking me
in the dick?
And then just proceeds to beat Cody to oblivion. Picks up the Rolex from Cody's pocket.
Which, by the way, great callback storytelling from night after WrestleMania.
Punches him repeatedly in the face with that. Then drops down on top of him and just starts bludgeoning and lefts and rights and lefts and rights. Gets up, grabs the title, hits him with that, bloodies Cody.
Hits him with the title again.
Chokes him with his tie. And then holds him down.
Brian fired.
Holds him down on the ground.
And so does Travis Scott.
And Travis Scott slaps the ever-loving taste out of Cody's mouth. And then The Rock
whips him
with a weight belt with Cody Rhodes' name
and
and
Cody's
Dusty
soul.
Rhodes' death date.
Not only that, then he grabs Cody's face, gets Cody's blood on his hand, and then wipes it on that weight belt. And one of the most brutal things I think of that wasn't even the beatdown. But before all that, before Cody gave his answer, The Rock said, if you say no, the American dream
No, he said the dream
will
die.
Twice.
He said if your answer is yes, then the American nightmare will live on forever. If you say he specifically stopped. He said, "Look me in the eyes." He said, "If you say no, the dream will die again." And he had that dramatic pause there. Again.
And everyone's been wanting The Rock and Cena to do a movie together. This is the next best thing.
So officially, Cena has turned heel.
And it's so funny because Chris Van Vliet posted
the interview.
And he said, The Rock is heel now. Imagine a world where The Rock and Cena are both heel. And then Cena's like, that's going to happen because,
he said it had been pitched.
Yeah.
It had been pitched years ago, and he had created a whole new theme song for it, and new gear.
Like he said, like the whole point is no one's perfect, right? So everyone has missteps, yada yada yada. So both The Rock and Cena, in real life, would go heel. Now, not in the interview, obviously, it was not this particular storyline that they were talking about, but it's just still funny how it all ended up playing out.
Yeah.
And oh man.
Now I do got to pat myself on the back because I've been calling this Cena heel turn ever since The Rock came out and said, "I want your soul, Cody." Like
the funny thing is, like as we're sitting there, as soon as I don't know if you remember this from last night or not, but as soon as Cena started talking to Cody, I looked at you and I said, "There's always a plan B."
Yeah.
Calling back to the Authority, where Rollins turned on the Shield.
Right.
It was almost, in my mind, it was literally like a replay of it, and I'm like, "Holy shit, he bought Cena." It's like, Cena, I will make sure that you break that record if you sell your soul to me.
Yep.
And Cena's like, I want that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So finally, 20 years later, we have heel Cena. We have heel Rock. Now, I don't know if you picked up on this, but that pay-per-view where The Rock came out and counted 1, 2, 3 and just left without saying a word.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed when he did that throat cut thing, he showed 2. So that can mean one of 2 things. That could mean there's 2 of us now with him and John, or it could mean that's 1 down, 2 to go. And I'm racking my brain. I'm thinking, who are the other 2? Well, one is obviously Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns was in the ring with Cody Rhodes when The Rock came out and did that whole 1, 2, 3 and left. Who's the third? And the only thing I can think of is, who has Cody helped so far? Cody has helped Randy Orton, Kevin Owens,
Seth Rollins. Actually, Seth Rollins was more helping Cody, but
so yeah. What if, I'm just throwing this out there to you, what if we end up with a stable of The Rock, John Cena, Randy Orton?
I'll do you one even better. Triple H.
Triple H can't fight though.
No. I'm not talking fighting wise. But think about it. The final boss, Triple H, COO, or CCO, or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
They can play it so that The Rock literally just Triple H. You want to keep your position? You're going to book things the way I tell you.
See now,
authority.
My friend posed this thought to me. What do you think the possibility of, say, a Triple H stable versus a Rock stable for like a Survivor Series?
Now, see, I would like that. But what I'm thinking is like in the authority, not everybody was in a wrestling capacity.
That's true.
In the corporation, not everybody was in a wrestling capacity.
That's true.
So, Triple H could be involved, but not in a wrestling capacity.
That is a possibility.
So, you have Rock and Triple H, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if The Rock got Triple H through, hey, I got a wife, I got kids, you're the boss now. I don't want to lose my job. And Rock then, Cena. H, you get Orton. You had him in Evolution. You had him in the Authority. Go get him for whatever this would be called. The Soul Authority.
The Soul Collective.
Yeah. Actually, that's pretty damn good.
Thank you.
And then you Randy Orton has taken down Roman Reigns, has taken down Seth Rollins, feuding with KO. And, KO at this point can't stand Cody.
The only problem with this is Orton is a babyface right now. They would have to turn him heel too. Because KO is
what I'm saying,
the clear heel.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, there are plenty of options for people that they could, in fact, bring into this group. And then you have the Cody, Seth, and potentially
the Punk.
Someone coming back into the company.
Interesting thought.
Yes. Because if you think about it, you have all these people, bringing in souls, right?
Uh-huh.
What if you have a dead man bring back a Master of the Dark Arts-ish kind of character? Since the dead man can no longer be in the ring, he can, make an appearance, be like, hey, I brought someone, like maybe talking to Cody or Punk or Roman or whoever the hell, be like, I brought someone that I think can help you. And then all of a sudden, here comes a black mask kicking motherfucker with a shit ton of awesome tattoos.
Coming up the Alice stairs.
Yes. They're black. But I mean, like, that way you have more or less faction v faction, but you've got a diversified, setup instead of just all the major players.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that. That is definitely a possibility.
But yeah, I definitely need to see the fallout from this
tomorrow night.
I am unliking the new slogan where it's hustle, loyalty, and disrespect. I think it should be hustle, treachery, and disrespect. But, whatever.
Huh.
Because, he's only loyal
to the
Rock. Rock now. I mean, he still has loyalty. But they only just added disrespect. I feel like it's not so far off that it's fully embracing the heel turn.
No, well, he fully embraced it.
No.
Did you see the press conference afterwards?
No, I'm saying the slogan does not fully embrace the heel turn.
I agree
He
with
did a
that.
fantastic job with it. And the funny thing is, like, the reason in the Fast and Furious franchise, the reason that his character went through, like, starting to redeem himself was because the producer, director, whoever said he wasn't believable enough as a bad guy. That was pretty fucking believable to me.
And I loved the presser afterwards. You see him walk in, and he looks so disturbed as he's walking into the presser. And he sits down, he pulls the microphone out of the holder, looks at it, puts it in the other hand, raises it up, and just drops it and leaves. He has gone full heel.
Yeah. And I didn't think that they would, because it's just, he only has a certain number of dates left.
Right.
So I was like, the whole point of this quote unquote farewell tour is, so that the fans can see him. Turns out that was just fucking bullshit. It's like, I didn't
Oh my God.
I didn't think that they were going to do that. So I feel like this was such a perfect twist, because even though I saw the heel turn coming, I didn't think that they would actually pull the trigger. I thought they were teasing it.
What if?
But they actually pleased for once. That was nice.
I just had this epiphany just now. What if the whole retirement thing is retiring John Cena's babyface character, but this new character is going to be there?
Well, he did very much say that he is no longer going to be an in-ring competitor.
As John Cena.
Who's he going to be now?
I don't know.
The corporate type?
He's lost his soul. He can be anyone they want him to be. He could go back to being the prototype. You'll never see John Cena in the ring again, but you will see the prototype.
I never saw John Cena in the ring to begin with.
I know, but still, you get my point. What if it's a play on words?
I figured out Lil Jimmy. R-Truth grew up idolizing John Cena, so his imaginary friend is literally the same as John Cena. Lil Jimmy
is John Cena.
You can't see him because that's how R-Truth sees John Cena. He can't.
No, little Jimmy is John Cena because you can't see him.
All right, guys, that was our more or less
take on Elimination Chamber
review and discussion on.
Oh, wait! Before we cut out, rating. What would you rate Elimination Chamber?
4 out of 5 stars.
4 out of 5. Okay, I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5.
The reason that I don't give it a 4.5 or a 5. I can't give it a 5. Nia Jax, that match, lose half a star. The other half was just because I have so many lingering questions that the answers of affect whether or not it gets that half star. Like, for example, if like the whole Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Bianca Belair story just sort of gets screwed up. Like, Bianca just, I get a title match, and like they don't
the rest
tie it all
of this
together,
disappears.
Then that would have been a waste. If Randy Orton, Kevin Owens don't feud, then it's a waste. Like, there's so much potential here. I want to give it a 4.9, but
the reason I took off a half a point was that women's tag team match. That was it. That was my only real gripe.
I guess I would have to give it a 4.5 just because
as a show, as a standalone.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it giving me questions, and there's so many potentials and everything. That's kind of the point.
For the long-term storytelling.
Yeah. So actually, I want to give it a 4.9, but that's stupid. It has to be a denomination of 5. So 4.5. I can't give a not 5. It's a 5 or a 0. That's it. No. Full star, half star. No, like, 0.9 star. No, that's not. Mm.
So that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, any final words?
Yeah, I think this podcast is officially eliminated.